Hello, my name's Gill McGregor and I'm a NAFAS national teacher, and I also am an international demonstrator, having travelled around the world. I'm an area judge and I also write books, and soon will be National Flower Arranging Day on May the 7th, and we are all being encouraged to create designs to decorate the outsides of our home to promote really this fabulous National Flower Arranging Day. So I thought I'd show you an easy way of creating a simple structure in order that you can then hang a flower arrangement on a gate, on a wall, by the side of your door, etc. And so to start with, you need 2 flat copper wreath rings. I have a 25cm flat copper wreath ring, which measures also 10 inches. And then I have a 20cm flat copper wreath ring. So that measures 8 inches, and I need to put the 2 together. So what I'm going to do is to get them so that where there are any joins is not where I'm going to put my cable ties to secure them. So what I'm going to do is to take a very thin cable tie and just feed that through so it's going round both, and pull it nice and tightly so that the actual little knot is on the inside of the actual wreath ring itself. Then I'm going to make sure that they appear to be level all the way round, so I need to secure this just here. So again, I'm going to take another cable tie and then just feed the end through. So let's gingerly feed that through, and again make sure that the actual knobble, as it were, is on the inside. And then I'm going to look at the structure of the 2 flat copper wreath rings, and I need to join them again at the sides. So I'm just going to take another little cable tie and then just feed that through, and again that can go on the inside, so I'm putting it as tightly as I possibly can, and then just take the last of the cable ties, so there's 4 in total, to help to secure this into position. And what I don't want is any of the tails, as it were, or the knobbles to be on the outside. So having got as far as that, all I need to do is just to remove some of the plastic which is extending. So I'm just going to cut this plastic down so that none of it is actually then sticking out, so that it looks like that. So now what I need to do is to think that I'm going to cover it with ribbon. And I thought that I would use dark green ribbon. So I've just got some cheap polypropylene ribbon here. And to start with, I need to measure really 4 feet of ribbon. So it's around about 1.30 meters, and put that to one side. So I'm just going to keep that to one side. I'm then going to take a quantity of ribbon, and it's going to be really the length that I think I need to be able to then have a hanging point. So I'm going to cut round about 1 metre. So I'm just going to cut that, and I'm going to take my wreath ring, and I'm going to have a look to see where I feel that the middle is at the top, and then I'm just going to bring the ribbon through so it hangs, and I'm just going to knot it. So I'm just going to bring it together and just knot, and I'm going to have the ends quite a long way from the actual knot itself, because then as I pull this tighter to then help to secure it into position, it will actually lengthen the actual tie bit itself, and then I'm just going to then just leave that like so, so that that will then be part of my knot. And then what I need to do is to take one of the lengths, slit it down, and then just tie it to make sure that it holds where I feel the middle of this particular wreath at the top is. So I'm just going to wrap the ends round so that I can then just tie it more into position. So it's just another sort of tying situation really to get this to be a little bit more secure. So I'm just knotting it and really putting it nice and tightly to then help to hold it into position. So we've got as far as that. I want the actual hook to the hanger to be like so that we can easily hang that. But I need to now disguise all this unsightly copper mesh. Don't worry about all these ends for the moment. So we're going to start at the bottom, at the base of the actual item itself. And you may notice that I've already cut off some of the cardboard so that I can easily feed this through the inner ring. So you won't be able to use a new reel of ribbon because you won't be able to cut sufficient cardboard off to allow it to then be threaded through. So what I'm going to do is just to cast on. So I'm just looking at where the shiny side is. And what I'm going to do is just to hold that so that it is level with the top. And then I'm just going to start to bind this ribbon around. And it's a bit fiddly to start with when you cast on because I just want to really go over this a couple of times so that the salvage, the edge is hidden. And then I'm just going to then bind this so that it goes to the actual top. And so you try to make this as neat as possible. You're going over the salvage of the piece of ribbon before, and you're just pulling it nice and tightly. But it is slightly harder because obviously we're getting thinner as we get towards the top. So I'm just binding this round, feeding this through, and I'm just going to repeat the process until I get to the top. Now I've got nearer to the top, and what I need to do now is to think that I want to lose some of these ends. So I'm just going to feed those into the actual item itself so that as I bind over, they are then just lost within the copper frame structure. So I've got to the top, but what I need to do now is just slightly start to go back on myself. And I'm going to go round twice to make sure it's nice and secure. And then I'm just going to then cut some of the ribbon, split it down, and then knot it to itself. Pull it nice and tight, 2 knots, and then cut so that you have about 3 centimetres of ribbon to one side. And then with the 12mm hot tape, I'm just going to take a quantity of hot tape and then just stick it so that it helps to hold the ribbon into position. So I'm just going to stick it like so. So we've got as far as that. And then what you will need to do is exactly the same as I've just done now, but go the other way round. You can't go all the way round because then the pattern gets distorted and it's far more secure to work from the bottom upwards. So in true Blue Peter style, I have one that I have just completed. So this is one that I've just completed. So I've gone round this way, then I've gone round that way, and then I've knotted it, and I've used a couple of pieces of pot tape really just to help to hold those knots into position. So now we've got the means of actually hanging an item onto the wall or the gate, etc. But now we need to have a container. And so what I decided to do was to work with a milk carton. So what I've done is I've emptied out a milk carton. I'm just going to put this tea towel down, because what I've tried to do is to empty out and wash it out, but I may have some little excess bits of water. And what I need to do is to look at where the actual hole is here, where we pour the milk out, and I want that at the back. So I'm just going to then cut into, just with a pair of scissors, just to actually be able to start to cut my actual milk carton down. And then what I'm going to do is to cut along here, either side, because I need to have this piece here, but I don't want that. And then I'm going to cut back, so I'm now cutting back across both sides. So I'm just going to cut down like so. And then I'm going to start to cut my way down to round about 4 inches. And then I'm going to then cut into the sides, cut along the front, cut along the side, and then cut back up. So I've ended up with a shape that looks like that. Now this is really, really useful, because now what I'm going to do is to fold that so that it then rests up against the back, and then with a stapler either side, just staple that into position. So now I've got a means of hanging, and I've also got a means of inserting floral foam in. So what I'm going to do now is, again, by magic, is to show you one that I have already completed. So what I've done is just using double-sided tape and the ribbon, I have covered the bottom, the sides, the back and the front with the ribbon, just in length, just folded it round using double-sided tape, then binding it round to help to secure it better into position. I've then used some of the 12mm pot tape, and then I made sure that I brought the ribbon to go up and around, and I've even put a little bit of ribbon with double-sided tape either side just to disguise it. And then I've used 2 cable ties, and these cable ties measure 20 centimetres, 8 inches in length. And what I've done is I've made with a braggle a little hole that went through the cardboard at the back, and I've put a little bit of pot tape at the front, and I've made with a braggle a hole that goes through so that I can then thread my cable ties together, and that way I can then secure this onto the framework. So I'm just going to move that to one side. So what I'm going to have to do now is to then just position this so that we get this so it sits in the middle. This has got to rest on the base, which is why it's wider here than it is at the top. And I'm just going to then just bring the cable ties to go round so that they can then... Right, so I've got one that's in position, and so that's starting to help to hold that. And then I'm going to take the other one and thread that one through into position. Now I don't want to pull it too tightly, because if I pull it too tightly it will just end up sitting up like so. I need it to be loose enough that it will actually then just hang. I've got 2 ends at the moment which I can then sort out in a little while, but obviously at the moment this is not flush to the actual wreath ring itself that's covered with ribbon. So what I need to do now is to sort that out. So I'm going to take some of the double-sided tape, a nice big wodge, and I'm just going to then stick that onto the centre front. So that just is stuck onto there like so, so that I've got that stuck nice. Then what I need to do is then to just pull off the edge. It'd be lovely if you had some nails. There we go, so I've got that. And then I'll take my 4-foot piece of ribbon, and I need to work out where the centre is. So I've worked out where the centre is, and I'm going to stick this so it goes over the top like so. And then what I need to do is to bring both ends of ribbon so that they go into the middle. Okay. And then just position this so that they then go back over the front, and you feed those into the middle again. And then what you're going to do is then just pull that as tightly as you possibly can. Nice and tightly, so that we then have got the item is then just nice and secure. So I'm just going to cut those salvages off and then just check this. Now this feels nice and secure. Could be just perhaps pull just a little bit tighter. So let's just pull that a little bit tighter and then remove again the excess of the actual item itself. I've got a little bit of the actual double-sided tape just showing, so I'm just going to disguise that because I'm a perfectionist. I don't like to see that whatsoever. So that's going to just sit on top. So let's just put a little bit there and get a little bit more of the double-sided tape so that we secure it, so that it follows with the colour dark green all the way through. So now I have got a wreath ring with a wreath ring, and it's just with a milk carton, and because it's a milk carton we know that the inside has been treated, so then it will then just hold water. So what I would then do is to work with the event floral foam, because it is a much stronger floral foam, and obviously if you're going to put it outside it's going to have to withstand weather conditions. I'm going to work out, so I'm just going to just push that against it so I can see exactly how big I need to cut my floral foam. So I'm just going to ease that down and then just ease that across like so. Let's just move that out the way. And obviously then I will soak the floral foam so that it will take up a maximum amount of water, and then this would then be slotted inside. And there we are able then to make an arrangement, because we're trying to promote the National Flower Arranging Day. To complete the design, put some pot tape just around the outer edge here, just to make it extra secure. And the design itself should really be within the parameters of this particular size. Otherwise, if you make it too tall, you'll find that it will actually tip. Now we've used event floral foam, so it's nice and dense. Do make sure that you insert the stems really deeply into the floral foam so they're not likely to fall out, or even use a couple of stub wires at the end just to really make sure that they're extra secure. So here's an example of one that I've made earlier. And I just wanted to show you that I've attached the promotional literature to some ribbon to hang down, and then I've used lightweight foliage and flowers, both commercially grown and garden plant material, and just to try and attract that extra little bit of interest, just done some leaf manipulation techniques. So I've got some rolled aspidestra and of course the lovely plaited palm, which if you don't know how to do, I also have a video on my website that shows you exactly how to plait a palm. So I'm hoping that you like my idea of a small arrangement that we can hang on a gate or from a nail, on a fence or on a wall. And And let's all start thinking about what we're going to do to help to promote National Flower Arranging Day on May the 7th.